Hello. This week, Highway takes us to the very beginnings of Britain, to Colchester, to the oldest recorded town in the kingdom. As you can imagine, it's seen some changes in 3,000 years. As a garrison town, it's seen quite a few bands. If I'm not mistaken, that's one coming now. Scottish pipes and drums marching in full splendour down an East Anglian high street. That's a sight not to be missed, and it takes a bit of explaining. You see, every so often, a new regiment is posted to the Colchester barracks, which are barely a mile from the town hall. Infantry regiments come here to brush up their training, and when they arrive, they're allowed to march down the high street and present their colours to the mayor. That's what they're doing now. Not bad, are they? The band of the King's Own Scottish Borderers, just back from Oswego. I love a band, and judging by the crowds in the street, there aren't many people who can walk away from a stirring sound like this. That's the Brigadier standing next to the mayor, and I'll bet he's a proud man at this moment. The luckiest ones are the young ones. They still have life ahead of them, and they can dream today of changing the world. And 162 feet up, on the very top of the town hall, stands a lady who, according to legend, did help to change the world. St. Helena was the daughter of old King Cole, the one in the nursery rhyme, and she married the Roman general who conquered Colchester. They had a son called Constantine, who became one of the great Roman emperors, and it was he who made Christianity the official religion of the Roman Empire. That's why she's a patron saint of Colchester. Any town as old as this is full of legend, and every good story has its hero, or heroine. In Colchester, the greatest heroine of them all must be Boadicea, who, unlike St. Helena, ousted the Romans in a fight that is still talked about today. Colchester is a town which has experienced sweeping changes many times before, both in its social fabric and in the buildings themselves. It's not just the archaeologists who find the debris of past generations under their feet. You only have to look at some of the buildings which stand there today to see how building materials can be used again and again. For instance, there's this lovely little church in Trinity Square. That's medieval stonework, but it's speckled with Roman tiles. More than one church I've found had an interesting story. Up the hill, nestling under the great Victorian barracks, was something very different. Now here's a building with a very interesting story, and it's proved to be very adaptable as well, because Florence Nightingale was offered it as a hospital for the troops. But at that time, she was very busy making sweeping changes in the way that the army was nursed. So she said, no, this building's too open, like a church, whereas a hospital should be divided so that the men could be nursed in separate rooms or wards. And so a church it became, because the Colchester Garrison were looking for a church and agreed to take this on temporarily. And it's been here ever since. The army has been here a long time too. Colchester has been a garrison town since the Romans were here, but the present barracks began to grow when the jewels were still shining in the British crown. Now it's the headquarters of Eastern District, which means that the army from the Thames to the Humber is run from Colchester. That looks like a searchlight belonging to the Territorials going home after its 3,000-mile service. With up to 4,000 men based here, you'd expect the military to have some impact on the town. Well, they have, because whenever the army has grown or changed, Colchester has grown with them. The history of Colchester is, in a very small way, a history of England. And so the people of Colchester have learned to grow and change and adapt as the town's history has unfolded itself. Colchester is a growing town, and it's the children of today who will make tomorrow's history. Perhaps that's why Colchester boasts not only a university, but also a thriving technical college, the Colchester Institute. It was here, among the young students, that I found one of the country's best music schools. Upstairs is a cacophony of rehearsal rooms. You can hear everything from a triangle to a trumpet up here. It may sound a bit messy to the unaccustomed ear, but I know from past experience that this is where the hard graft goes on. These young people are working so that one day they might bring us flocking to the concert halls to hear their particular music. What's exciting is that they include every kind of music. There's one man who has a special association with the music school here. He's a pianist who's seen more changes of musical fashion than there are octaves on the keyboard. And we still love his music. Fernando, Riccardo, Alberto, Semprini. Albert, we first met back in Milan in 1945, when you were playing the piano for Eve Beck, and I was in a small group accompanying her. And of course, during your span in the business, you've done all sorts of things. You did a long program, 25 years of serenade, didn't you?
25, yes.
Can you sort of pin down what it is about you that appeals to the public?
I really don't know, but I try to be sincere in everything. You know, once you go on the platform or the stage, the lights turn on you. You can't fool anybody. You become transparent, and they can see right through you. So it is sincerity, the factor.
And of course, now you've decided to stop playing, and you've given all your music here to the Institute.
Yes.
Why have you done that?
Well, I wasn't going to play anymore, and I decided really strictly not to perform at all. And I didn't like the idea of keeping this music doing nothing. This way, it may help some young person. Young people are individualists, and you must leave them free.
But freedom should be used to good effect. That applied particularly to one graduate of the Institute who came back with his bandleader Kenny Ball to play for us, Martin Lytton. Kenny Ball and his jazzmen playing a number which he wrote specially for Highway. One of the best things about being on the Highway is the people I come across. In Colchester, I found myself being guided most elegantly by an old friend of mine, Karen Kay. Well, you have plenty of countryside around here too, haven't you?
I love it. I probably know Colchester. I mean, the town is very pretty, but I probably know the surrounding area better than the people who actually have been here all their lives, you know? Because you do tend to do that, don't you? You explore the place.
Now, it seems to me that Colchester is a town of contrast. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. I think, really, they've managed to combine the old and the new quite well, really. I mean, this is the old Roman wall, 2,000 years old.
Is it?
And that's the modern car park, 5 minutes old.
That's built on the lines of a Roman barracks, is it?
Yes, I think so. It's rather nice, really, the way they've done that, because Colchester needed it desperately. It really did.
Well, it'll stand as long as this has stood, though.
I shouldn't think so, no. I think that we've got to get used to change, haven't we, really? We've got to...
I don't think we've got any option.
As long as they combine the old and the new with a little bit of taste, and it's not an eyesore.
Now, good heavens. What's that?
That's Colchester's water supply, that is.
Is it?
That's jumbo. Yes. You know when you're in Colchester. You know when you're arriving in Colchester on the train, you see, because that's a great landmark.
Karen, I think it's about time we had a song from you.
That'd be nice, but I mean, you know, like this, I need a whole band, you know?
Leave it to me. I can fix anything.
Really?
Just watch.
Where am I? Where am I now?
That's the good advantage of having a logo. You know exactly where you are.
You are the Colchester Institute Jazz Orchestra.
That's the one.
All on your own. Very clever. You've got great vibes, but listen, what I need is the keys.
He's over there.
He's over there? God, you sure it's a he? Look at this. Does your mother know where you are? What's the state of this? Who got you ready? What's it like being a student here?
Well, it's hard work, but it's good fun.
Is it? You sure you're telling the truth? Play me something, then. Wouldn't think someone so scruffy could have so much talent. The odds were 100 to 1 against me. The world thought the heights were too high to climb. The people from the city never incensed me. Oh, I wasn't a bit concerned, for from history I had learned how many, many times the worm had turned. They'll laugh to Christopher Columbus when he said the world was round. They all laughed when Edison recorded sound. They all laughed at Wilbur and his brother when they said that man was blind. They told Marconi wireless was a phony. It's the same old cry. They laughed at me, wanting you, that I was reaching for the moon. But oh, you came through. Now they'll have to change that tune. They all said we never could be happy. They laughed at us and how. But ho, 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 who's that laugh now? Nothing's impossible, I have found. For when my chin is on the ground, I pick myself up, start all over again. Don't lose your confidence if you slip. Be grateful for a pleasant trip and pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again. Like a soul inspired till the battle of the day is won. You may be sick and tired, but you'll be a man that's done. Will you remember the famous man who had to fall to rise again? So take a deep breath. Pick yourself up. Start all over again. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Chris Byrne. I think he's got a fantastic orchestra. Absolutely fabulous. It's been a pleasure to work with you. Terrific. Thank you.
Different people meet the changes and the crises in their lives in different ways. Changes, they find, throw up a whole array of new questions to which the answers don't come easily. But I did come across one lady with her very special dog who overcame the problems of being struck blind by writing books. Her name is Jessie Hickford, and there aren't many in Colchester who don't admire her bravery. As we've discovered, it's often people, perhaps someone like Jessie Hickford, who can help us find the inspiration to cope with the great changes of life. Remember St. Helena? Well, it was her son Constantine who made it possible, during the centuries that followed, for people to find God through Christ. She stands above Colchester, facing the fountainhead of the Christian faith, Jerusalem. Colchester is dotted with the towers and spires of centuries, evidence of a faith that grew. However much a town may change, the houses of God have a habit of staying on, like the little Garrison church.
And did those feet in ancient time walk upon England's mountains green? And was the holy Lamb of God on England's pleasant pastures seen? And did the countenance divine shine forth upon our clouded hills? And was Jerusalem builded here among those dark satanic mills? Bring me my bow of burning gold, bring me my arrows of desire, bring me my spear, O clouds unfold, bring me my chariot of fire. I will not cease from mental fight, nor shall my sword sleep in my hand, till we have built Jerusalem, being England's green and pleasant land.
In England's green and pleasant land, and there's plenty of that around here. Well, we find a lot of change in Colchester, both in the past and in the present. Change in itself poses a lot of questions. I'm reminded of what Barry Alcott said, and I quote, "We find ourselves asking questions which we can't answer alone or with our friends. We simply have to turn to a higher power." Well, that's it from here. Next week, we go to Wimborne in Dorset. See you then.